Hello, everybody. My name is Caesar.
And I'm Martha.
Welcome back. This is the 21st episode of Inner Wider Screen, where
Two idiots who know nothing about movies talk about movies.
Martha, how many terms did Benjamin Franklin serve as president?
Wait a minute. Benjamin Franklin wasn't a president.
Look it up.
He wasn't a president, was he?
Look it up. I'm telling you. I'm asking you how many terms.
I am certain that he was not a president.
I'm just saying.
But I'm going to look it up. He was a founding father, but he wasn't a president.
I'm asking you just how many terms. It's a simple question.
But he wasn't a president.
One or two, Martha. Pick.
But the answer is 0.
Okay, it's 0. He wasn't the president. You're right.
You do. I'm minoring in political science.
I know, which is why I was kind of surprised that it took you a second to think about it.
It took me 0 seconds to realize.
Because at first you were like, he wasn't a president, was he? Like, it sounded uncertain in your voice.
Because the look on your face made me think otherwise. But I knew in my gut.
I knew you knew, but I had the question, and I was like, I need to get these questions out of the way before you know what I mean? But the fact that you took even the slightest hint of a second to think about it.
Okay, there was a slight hesitation because there was sorry, the audio got weird.
You're good.
There was a slight hesitation because you were trying to convince me that I was wrong, even though I was right.
Oh, because I feel like at this point, there's nothing else I can do besides trying to gaslight you into thinking he was the president. Sure, Martha. Which is fitting because today we're talking about, I think, a dumb movie, but a smart movie at the same time.
Yes, definitely. It's a perfect way to describe this movie, actually.
That is, actually. But yeah, so today's movie, as you can tell behind me, oh, I'm gone. Whoops. Superbad. Excuse me. But before we get into Superbad, have you caught on to any film or television this last week that you'd want to discuss?
I did not have time very much.
I feel you. Same here.
Again, nothing I'm willing to admit to on air. So
right. I'll admit what I watched. I mean, I only have like 2 right here that I remember watching. I watched the second Princess Diaries movie for the first time.
For the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you were missing out.
It was good.
The best one.
It's good. I mean,
it's so good.
I think the first one was better.
Okay, so here's the thing. I can't argue which one's better because I love them both so much.
Got you.
They're just so great. But
and I don't blame
Chris
you for
Pine.
That. Yeah, which I don't know if you knew that was his first movie ever.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no wonder he's so big now. Princess Diaries really just set him on a great path.
Catapulted him on exactly.
Honestly.
No, but I mean, I really liked both of the movies. But the second was a lot of fun, obviously with Chris Pine and everything, and Julie Andrews. Dude, if something bad happens to her, it's gonna be the saddest day.
Stop that right now. We do not put that out in the universe.
Okay, I'm not putting. All right, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. But anyway, no, she's just great. Like, she's just so sweet. Like, all the time, she's the best.
Precious.
Yeah.
So precious.
So
we love her.
yeah, I had a lot of fun with
queen.
it. What else did I watch? Did I have it down here somewhere? No.
Gotta be on top of this stuff, Caesar. Come on.
I was trying to see if
I showed up fully prepared to give my answer of not watching anything.
Of not watching anything. But, okay, the other movie I watched was called Heavyweights. I don't know if you heard of this.
That sounds familiar.
So basically, it's this kid, and his parents forced him to go to fat camp. But
is Adam Sandler in that movie?
No.
Sandler. Ben Stiller.
Yes.
My dad was watching it the other day and like showing my niece, and I was like, this doesn't, like, I just saw a couple parts. I was like, this doesn't seem like an appropriate movie to show a 4-year-old.
Oh, no, it's fine for kids.
Oh,
okay.
It's a
kids. It's a Disney movie. It's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I've
no.
never seen it,
So the kids, he goes to fat camp, and he's kind of like worried about it at first, but then he gets there, and it's like he sees the video first, and he's like, "Oh, that looks fun. Like, we'll do that." But then right when it gets there that year, the ownership changes to Ben Stiller, who just wants to make like a home video to promote his gym, I guess, to show that he can transform these fat kids into skinny kids, basically. And the kids are just so fed up with him that they basically like revolt against him, like to take over the camp
Nice.
back. So
I like it.
it's a fun movie. I dug it. It was a fun movie. So if you have Disney
Sure
Plus,
sounds fun.
I would check it out. It's a '90s movie.
Like all the
I don't
greats, 90s.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's all. But that's all I watched. I know some movies came out in theater. I know Shang-Chi just came out this past weekend.
I need
Made
to
a
see
lot of
it.
money. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. I know it was getting like before it had even come out. That was like this is gonna be a huge flop, and then
Yeah.
the actor in the movie like was like LOL because it just ended up being
Because everyone
huge.
was really expecting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good for them. I heard the movies. I haven't seen the movie yet. I know you're probably going to see it at some point soon too. It is not a Disney Plus Premier Access thing. It's just in theaters. So we'll see how that goes. I
Back
still have not
to-
seen Free Guy either with Ryan Reynolds.
We were supposed to see it, and then
Something
the universe
happened.
was like, no.
No, not quite.
So, yeah.
But anyway, there's a lot of movies coming out. There's actually been a lot of festivals going on the last couple of days. So Dune premiered.
Oh wow, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that movie last night in Soho premiered. That I'm excited for. Wow. A bunch of big movies came out.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't come out yet, but they premiered, so people have got reactions and stuff. But we got a couple months ahead of us, so we're probably going to have to make some movie trips out of it pretty soon. If y'all want to see us
Definitely.
vlog one, I'm down.
Yeah, for
I can
sure.
vlog a trip.
I can
Can you
pretend
do
to
that?
know what I'm
Can
doing.
you pretend to know what you're doing in front of a camera, iPhone camera?
Yeah.
That's all we can
No,
afford?
probably not.
Okay. I mean, that's fine. All right.
Yeah. Hey, today we're on laptop cameras. all
We
right?
are. That's very true. But if we're going to the movies, I'm not taking my laptop with me. I'll be like, hey guys,
Hey
welcome.
guys.
No.
Love it.
But yeah, so one last thing before we get into the movie. Obviously, just want to remind you guys to make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. It's huge if you're watching the videos. It's also huge if you're listening to the audio too. Like, that's really cool. Do that.
We
But
appreciate-
also, yes, we appreciate either way how you're watching or listening to us. But make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure to catch up on our social medias because we're on Instagram, Twitter, and Instagram. Did I say Instagram twice or Twitter
yeah,
twice?
But you said Instagram, Twitter, and Instagram. But, you know, you're just really pushing for Instagram. Yeah. That's it.
I have no reason to favor Instagram over the other ones, but you can follow us there.
Yeah.
Twitter and TikTok. What's the other one? I've
we
not been
go.
active on the TikTok though very recently, but it's still there.
Yes.
So if I ever do become
we'll
active
go
on
back
it,
to it eventually.
eventually, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I can't promise how soon, but it's there. So follow us. In our screen. All right. With that out of the way, let's get into what I can also use as a word to describe how this episode's gone so far. Super bad.
Bad.
So yeah.
I remember today.
Spoilers ahead. Very good job. I'm
Look
glad you
at
said that.
me.
Spoiler warning. If you have not seen Superbad, check it out. They actually just took it off Netflix right before we did this
Yeah.
episode.
I'm
I
convinced that
hate-
this episode's cursed, and I don't know, because it's like we filmed the day before that they took it off Netflix, so we were like, yeah, it's on Netflix, we'll watch it, and then
Yeah.
the day after, it's like, wait a minute.
I always hate. I really have to be careful with the episodes that we do at the end or beginning of a month, because that's when like they'll add and take off stuff. I had no idea it was being taken off because usually it tells you on Netflix last day, and maybe it was there, but I didn't see it. But
So-
I'm assuming most of y'all had seen Superbad already, maybe too.
It's a
And if
pretty-
not, I'm sure you can find
pretty
it.
old
So
movie.
pretty easy to find.
It's a
So yeah,
classic.
yes. So Superbad. Where are my notes? Right here. Superbad,
Yep,
directed
see?
by.
Cursed.
Yeah, stop. No. It was directed by Greg Mottola. He is most known for directing the movies Adventureland, and that movie Paul. Do you know what that is? That movie
The one with the alien.
Yeah, which I haven't
Yeah,
seen
yeah.
that, but it looks pretty ridiculous. I kind of want to check it out. It stars more people with this, but it's officially listed as starring Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, Seth Rogen, and Bill Hader. But you also have Christopher Mintz-Plasse and Emma Stone, which I don't know if you knew she was going to be in this movie.
I didn't, but also I felt it in my gut that she would be in this movie for some reason.
Oh, makes sense.
She
All right.
she like, I don't know why, but like the timing of it all just felt like she fit really well into this movie. But I
Yeah.
didn't know she was in this movie.
Which
Does
is
that make
crazy that you
sense?
say that, I guess. But this was also, speaking of Chris Pine, that was his first movie. This was Emma Stone's first movie, too.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It's very
Interesting.
cool stuff. This was released August 17th, 2007. Made it on a $20 million budget and grossed $171 million worldwide. So huge profit for them. I am very gassy today. I'm sorry. But let's just get into the movie. So, this was your first time watching this?
Yes and no. This is my first time watching it completely. I'd only seen just like couple parts here and there, but I've never like actually seen it, so I enjoyed it.
Okay, good.
Watch it in full for once instead of just different parts. I mean, I've heard great things about this movie because it's just hilarious. I watched that movie that came out recently, which was Booksmart, which everyone's claiming to be like the female version of Superbad.
Yes.
Absolutely loved that movie. So I was excited to get into this one, and I think it did a good job of like matching my expectations, I think.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, I definitely, when Booksmart came out, that was definitely like a comparison most people were making, and I think that movie does a good job of being its own thing, but it definitely like has a Superbad feel to it. For sure.
Yeah.
Kind of a similar, I mean, plot honestly is pretty similar too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's, and then there's the connection of their brother and sister, Beanie Feldstein.
Right, Jonah Hill's in this movie, and his sister
Hill,
Beanie Feldstein is like that, basically that same character in
so I think that's funny. Look at full circle.
That was very cool stuff. Yeah. I don't know the first time I saw this. I haven't seen it too many times, but I always thought this was a really funny movie. A memory I have though is I put this movie on one time with my sister, and we'll get into like the beginning of the movie, but basically she just couldn't get through it. It was just too much graphic dialogue for her.
Yeah, it's a bit
she was
much.
just kind of like grossed out by it, a little bit much for her. But I mean, at least for me, I mean, I kind of thought the way they were talking kind of felt close to reality.
It felt authentic.
Yeah.
Because of like who these guys are, and like you know exactly who these people are.
Right. You know who they are.
So,
we had people like this in high school, like that just
exactly.
Right.
So like the way that they talk, like the everything about it just felt so authentic and so real.
Yeah.
And I think that's why like added to the enjoyment of the movie was just watching these awkward, weird guys just getting themselves in these wacky situations.
Stupid
and it's just really so stupid, but so funny.
Maybe it was too real for her. You're right.
Maybe definitely that was it, yeah.
I was going to ask you, so I noticed at the beginning, obviously like the Columbia pictures and like the whole title sequence, all very like 70s kind of inspired.
Yeah, with them dancing, like the silhouettes of them dancing.
I don't really know why they went with that, because I don't think it has anything to do with the rest of the movie. But it was cool.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but still enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah,
like visually, it was pretty to look at.
Pretty nice, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But like your point, just immediately you start off with all the jokes they're talking about. I mean, the first thing they talk about is as soon as the movie starts, they're just talking about porn they want to watch. I mean, it's just like it's just very back and forth between them. It just feels very natural. So you gotta give it to them for that. And I'm sure they had a very close friendship during the movie, and I'm sure since the movie, it definitely feels real here.
Definitely some good chemistry there. Just a real bromance. If I've ever seen one, that's a bromance.
I think this is a bromance 100%. And they're, like you said, they're perfect for playing like these nerdy type of characters. Like Jonah Hill's just really horny nerd guy, and Michael Cera's just this really shy, awkward. I mean, he's Michael Cera, right?
Michael Cera played Michael Cera in this movie,
right? But I think it's because they're both. I don't know. It's like they're both different from each other, but also very similar. That I think it makes them work really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was funny how that's all that was on their minds was talking about sex when they're literally like the least two experienced guys.
I know, but I also think it's funny, like the balance between like someone who just completely is disrespecting women, but then you have Michael Cera, like the little angel who's like, hey, we respect women.
Like, why do you keep calling her a bitch? Like, she's not a bitch.
And he's like, hey, we respect women here. Let's not throw those terms around. So love Michael Cera for that.
Definitely. I love him for that. Which is actually kind of crazy because we talked about him as Scott Pilgrim. And honestly, he's the woman disrespecter in that movie.
The woman disrespecter. But yeah, we definitely needed to add that little note in there.
Yeah.
There's a balance of both.
Right. But I loved in the beginning how, I mean, really the beginning's just them talking. You kind of get an idea who they are by their talking. And then you see things throughout their school. Like when they're on the track, like Seth. But actually, we'll say this real quick. What were you laughing at?
The scene on the track where he's running and he's having a hard time, and then the kid with the
prosthetic leg,
the prosthetic leg, he's laughing at it.
It was funny. It was so funny.
Shouldn't be funny, but it was really funny.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if you knew this. So the writers of this movie were Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg. So he's a writing partner that he's had for like pretty much through all their movies. The characters' names are Seth and Evan. Mm-hmm. Because Seth Rogen initially envisioned himself playing this role, but he felt like because they had been writing the script for so long.
Stop talking. I was going to make that note.
Go ahead. I don't know. I'm saying nothing.
So did you know that it actually took Seth Rogen about 7 years to write the screenplay? So he was originally going to be playing the part that Jonah Hill played. But by the time he was done, he was too old to play the part. So he ended up just playing the part of the cop. So this is a little fun fact if you didn't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had no idea about that, actually. I did like no research on this movie at all.
I told my brother I was watching this movie, and he told me that fun fact, and I was like, I'm writing this down. I'm going to tell it, and Steve's going to be like, wow, I didn't know that.
I'm sorry.
I was wrong.
I'll just not... Actually, honestly, that wasn't even something I did research on. It's something I just knew from before. But I won't do it anymore. You should be the research person, actually, like the trivia person. I think that'd be fun for you to try to do.
Or I could not, and you can keep doing that.
Well, you seem so excited to do it just now.
No, it was just this once. I was trying it out. Turns out I didn't like it at all, so.
Oh, all right. Well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, basically, you just kind of see more of the class. Then he ends up in that home ec class. He goes on a rant off the teacher saying how pointless the class is and all that dumb stuff. And then we are introduced to Emma Stone, who plays Jules, the girl that Seth wants to be with. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, hey, I'm throwing this party. My parents can be out of town. Because they were always talking about they never go to parties.
Yeah.
No one's ever seen them at yeah, right. No one's ever seen them at parties. So they were like, this is a perfect opportunity for us to go. Mm-hmm. So they're like,
so
okay.
He's very excited about it.
Yeah,
he's very excited because he's, they were talking about her earlier before they had introduced the character officially, and it's like it's made known that she's already been kind of like flirting with him. Yeah. And so he kind of has this like long-term plan now, which like over the summer he will be making her his girlfriend. He can get all the practice he needs in preparation for college. And then after summer, like he'll be prepared to take on the world.
Yes.
So that's kind of his plan. So we actually had to meet Jules, and she's very pretty, very bubbly. Like she's just like a very cool person. And we see him in home ec together. That whole scene is just ridiculous. Like Michael Cera and the other kid, and he's like, the way he's just like treating him is just like, it's so pure. I love it.
Yeah.
And then you have Seth over here who's like, haha, girl.
Yeah, I mean that's all that's on his mind the entire movie. It's just girl.
Yes.
girl.
Yes,
right.
That is. I was thinking.
And then you meet Fogel. I almost forgot his name was Fogel because I would always associate him with the name McLovin.
Yep.
But then Fogel shows up. And then the first thing you really see about him is he's definitely another kind of, very nerdy type, but very confident at the same time.
I don't see him with confidence quite yet.
Well, confidence, like the way he talks to his friends.
Okay, yeah. So there's a little thing here. So fake confidence, I guess, because it's the like I have to say things to like make them think that I'm cooler than I am, because. Yeah. So here's another little thing about this like trio dynamic is that you have these two best friends who have been friends for a very long time, and then you have this extra guy who just came in. And there's always going to be that, like...
third wheel kind of guy.
Third wheel sort of situation.
Yeah.
When it comes to that group dynamic. Like, whether it's meant or not. But that's just kind of the case for this guy. And he's, like, trying to, like, present himself as someone that it's like, you guys don't have to like worry about me being like the weird kid. Like I'm the cool guy you want here, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of confidence he gives off at the beginning. Now, confidence later on in the movie, that's a whole other story.
I mean, literally immediately the next scene, he's talking about this hot girl he sees in the hallway. And then we actually see what happened. He just walks up to her and he's like, it's 10:33. And she's like, huh? And he just spins and just
he's like, walks away. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I typed in his name in my notes and it turned into Rogelio in my autocorrect.
Let's call him Rogelio.
So from now on, I'm calling him Rogelio.
So weird Rogelio.
Yeah. Then you already start getting this idea of how just inseparable and codependent they are on each other. And obviously like something's gonna go wrong with that.
It's mentioned.
Yeah.
It's like over and over again. They keep talking about it's like, wait, you're not going to college together, so like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, like everyone,
like, we could go to the different colleges. Nothing's gonna happen, but everyone's like, the world's gonna end if you guys
like everyone exactly like everyone just knows how like not good that's gonna be for them.
So it's like they're inseparable, and everyone understands that relationship between the two of them, and so like it would be weird to see them apart because you've only ever seen it because they friends. Sixth grade, I think.
I don't know.
It's like when they first,
since they were kids, sure.
Since they were kids, like they were best friends. So it's like it would be weird to see them separated and going to different colleges, you know. So
but that's like just a reality of finishing high school and stuff, growing up, all that stuff.
Yeah, but that's the main issue within this movie is like the main conflict that they're having to deal with. That's always in the background.
Sure.
And it's very clear.
Despite all the crazy stuff that's going on.
Yeah, despite all of that's going on in the forefront, it's very clear that Seth is not happy about the fact that he's leaving him, and it just becomes even more clear as the movie goes on, which we'll now get into the rest of the plot.
I will say though, one quick joke that I thought was hilarious, and the fact that as a kid he's like would all just nonstop draw dicks. And all the different kinds of dicks that they show that he drew are so creative that it's just hilarious.
I know. I was like, he's a very talented artist.
Yeah,
like I'll give him that much.
He could have taken that to something else. Like,
there is no reason why that scene had to be so dramatic, though.
Oh, I know, but I think it adds to the comedy.
Oh, it absolutely does. It's so stupid, but it definitely adds to the comedy. And kind of gives more background into his character of why he's considered maybe not the coolest person at school.
Right. Yeah.
So,
shout out to Dave Franco. I forgot he had a cameo in this.
It's like, calm down, Greg. It's soccer.
Right. Or as we call him, the good Franco right now.
The good Franco. Yeah.
Oh, wait, did you say it, Greg? Like, they called him Greg in the movie?
Yeah, that was his name. I wrote down the quote because I laughed really hard.
And he ended up playing Greg in The Disaster Artist. That was his character's name.
That's crazy. Full circle there too.
Look at that.
We need to hurry up and do an episode on The Room. Like,
we got to.
Now.
We got to.
But we could do like a double feature of like The Room and Disaster Artist.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that'd be the best plan. So y'all down for that? I mean, let us know. We'll speed it up. The way Michael Cera, I was gonna say, talks to the girl he likes, her name's Becca. So cringe and awkward. He's like, "My treat, miss," and like, "Get used to it, sister." And
I know.
Her leaving. She's like 40 feet away. She's like, "Bye," like bye.
Every interaction between them is just so funny because like he's aware that she is out of his league, yet she doesn't understand that she is slightly out of his league
because she likes
him. Still, she likes him. And I mean, something that you would understand, Marie is way out of your league, so
Oh yeah, exactly. So I connected to that immediately.
Yeah, so I'm sure you really connected to the character.
Exactly.
And so just like every interaction between them is just hilarious because he's just so awkward, but he's trying not to be, which makes it more awkward.
It's funny. It's funny stuff.
Perfect. I love it. Yeah.
Then we get into, honestly, I think this is the funniest scene in the movie. McLovin. Not McLovin. Well, okay, this is McLovin, but Vogel. So basically, the plan that they have is, we didn't really talk about the plot.
Oh, yeah. Right?
So because Jules is having the party, they're like, Seth is like, okay, what if I get her alcohol for the party.
Yeah, because he had mentioned, after Fogel had mentioned that he was going to get the fake ID, Seth was like, oh yeah, getting a fake ID today, trying to impress her. And she's like, oh, well, we're having a party and we need alcohol and you have a fake ID. So you want to buy us alcohol? And of course, when a pretty girl asks you to do something, you cannot say no.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very hard not to. So
especially when he thinks that he's gonna get her drunk, and that's the only chance he'll have to sleep with her.
Yeah, that's his plan there. So he's like, okay, yeah, I'm doing this. I'm getting the alcohol, and he is very much reliant on Vogel getting this ID. So he finally shows up with it, and then he takes a look at it. He's like, you're an idiot. Like, you ruined everything.
There's so much wrong with this ID. So much wrong with it.
So first of all, he's from Hawaii. Okay. Second is he's 25.
25
he
years
looks
old.
like he's 15 at max.
The picture is like it's to the left of the frame, which I didn't even notice. So
I didn't even notice that.
It's like his face isn't even centered in the picture. It's like off to the side. It's
look
so
at
funny.
this picture just to see, like, in its full glory of like what. Yeah. Oh my God! It is off center. I didn't even realize that. That's hilarious.
There's just like more details on how bad this ID is. And then
so
of course,
bad.
like the best part, his name's McLovin. Not only is McLovin itself a bad first or last name, it's the only name on the ID card.
It says that it was issued in 1998. Which, what time was this movie? Like, what year was this movie made?
I mean, it came
or
out,
like put out?
They shot in 2006, so he would have been
2006.
Wait, I don't understand.
Oh
Anyway,
my God.
But clearly, so whoever he went to his fake ID clearly does not know what they're doing. And clearly he had no idea what he's doing too, because like I'm assuming he picked the age and the name.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, when you get there, you get to pick your own name and everything. Oh,
and you
God,
landed on McLovin. Like it was between that or Muhammad.
Wow.
Why the fuck would it be between that or Muhammad?
It's like, it's actually the most common name. He's like, have you ever met anyone named
Muhammad?
Muhammad?
It's like, no, that's why it's a cool name. It was like, no, have you ever met anyone named McLovin? No, that's why it's a dumb fucking name.
No, because it's a stupid name. Oh God, it's just that whole scene is just the most iconic scene to come out of this movie. I mean, everyone, I always, every few months I see the ID, on Twitter for some reason.
Oh yeah, people always use the ID as memes.
Always talking about it.
I mean, I remember like at Walmart, there was always those T-shirts with like his ID.
Yeah, there was always those T-shirts. It was, I mean, it's rightfully so, just like iconic. It's just hilarious and so stupid and so ridiculous. But so was this entire movie. But it's funny that this is the standout part of this movie.
Yeah.
Out of everything that was presented. But it was, because it's stupid.
No, that was definitely my favorite laugh.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I definitely got a good laugh.
Yeah. Now they have to get their alcohol. He has the ID, so they're going to go get the alcohol, and then they show up in those stupid clothes.
Yeah, so, well, first of all, Seth is like,
well, you've screwed us over by getting this stupid ID that no one's going to believe. He's like, I'm just going to go steal the alcohol. Like, that's what I have to do.
Yeah.
He goes into the store and he has all these different, like,
fantasies of, like, what could possibly happen. So it's like, the first one was like, the cop is like, don't do it, kid. And he tries to run, and then he ends up killing him, like slicing his neck with a bottle. And the other one is like, an old lady drops her purse, and he's like, oh, here you go, ma'am. And she's like, you want me to buy you alcohol? And so like, that's the second one. And then there was a third one, I believe, which I don't.
Was the third one
where he just decides to like go to the register, and buys them, and he's like, how old are you? He's like 23. He's like, you sure are.
So he definitely had those scenarios in his head. So they were like, okay, no, this grocery store thing's not going to work out. Because what happened was Fogel, he wanted to go in there, but what does he work there or something?
He works there. So he was like, so they're going to recognize you and be like, no, like you're not 21 or 25. So they're like going to turn him away. So they end up heading over to the liquor store instead. So they're like, he's freaking out now. He's like, but like, that's a lot of alcohol I have to buy. And like, what if I get caught? Like, what's going to happen to me? And they're like, okay, the worst that happens is that they like tell you no and you walk out, which is always my fear of going into a liquor store, because I'm old enough to buy alcohol. Now, do I look like I'm old enough to buy alcohol?
No.
The answer is no. I will present my ID, but there was always that fear that they're going to be like, ma'am, you are clearly a 12-year-old. Please exit the building now. And it would be so embarrassing. So I 100% understand where he's coming from. Of course, mine is like legally buying alcohol.
I think you have like a paranoid fear, and his is like a legit fear because he's not 21. But you're
because he's
21.
actually not 21, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, I don't want to be embarrassed next time that I show my ID and they're like, come on.
Well,
like, and it looks like well, it is a real idea. So
I would hope it looks like a real ID.
Of course it looks real. It is real. But I'm still like, part of me is like, I'm still a child. Don't let me buy alcohol.
I mean, you just got to go in there with like confidence and like a sense of maturity, you know?
My little 5-foot self, 5'1" on a good day.
I mean, you could wear those boots or something.
I'll do that.
All right.
That's my...
Yeah, but once he goes to the liquor store, I mean, you definitely can see the anxiety he has really well. I mean, the dude's just like stuttering over himself and dropping beers, and
he's not
cannot keep
having,
himself under control.
Having a great time.
And of course, as soon as he actually succeeds in getting the alcohol, surprisingly so, the place is robbed. He gets punched in the face.
And he's there. I didn't know the scene was in here. And so watching it, I could not stop laughing. And just thinking about it, it's just like, what are the odds? Like, what are the odds that that's going to happen?
Yeah, right.
He makes it through. And so it's just like, boom. And
because things can't go right for these guys like too long.
No. And to me, I think that was probably the moment that made me laugh the hardest in the movie.
It's just so like, you're not expecting it. You literally again, see like the guy's fist come out of like the
just
frame,
out of nowhere. It's just so funny because it's just so unexpected. And again, this was the first time seeing this, so like I just genuinely was not. I had no idea how this was gonna end. Like she was giving him like the eye of like, I don't know if I trust you. You're 21, but like she looks at the ID and was like, okay, whatever. And he's like almost to the end, and I was like, wow, is this like actually gonna work? And then boom.
And then you remember there's still like an hour and a half left, so like something has to go wrong.
I know, I was like, something has to go wrong, but I wasn't expecting that. So I loved that. I loved that that's what stopped him.
You're right. And then also because it's a robbery, the police shows up. So Seth Evans from the outside are thinking he's caught. It's not what happened.
Two idiot, just the most useless cops to ever exist show up. And they're just idiots. They're just so stupid and are hilarious.
Like them trying to ask the race of the guy who robbed the place.
He's like, so do they look like us or do they look like you? And they're like, so African Jews. Got it. She's like, did I say that? Like, did I say any of this? You guys are idiots. So she's clearly done with the cops, but then they turn to him and start asking him questions, and he's very clearly nervous.
Yeah, I was just like, dude.
Because but okay, like, wouldn't you be?
I know, but he's like, how old are you? Old enough. And he's like,
old enough.
Old enough for what? Like, to party?
Enough to party. I love it. And you know what? My brother always uses that whenever we ask, like, how much or, like, how old. He always answers with enough to party. I never knew, like, I guess it's from this movie, but
it had to be.
Never
I mean, if your brother was the one that told you that fact earlier.
He probably really loves this movie then.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, we should have had him on. Have him guest star.
So then they're freaking out on the outside. They're like, oh my God, he's caught. We don't know what to do.
Yeah, they don't understand. Like, they don't know the situation because they were waiting outside. So they think that he was caught and that he's about to get arrested by these cops. And Seth is like, hey, every man for himself. You know, let's leave him behind. He is useless to us now. Yeah. We need to keep trucking. Figure out what we're going to do. Which is hilarious. But then he's just such a terrible person.
Then he gets hit by a car.
Then he gets hit by a car for... Is this the first or second time? This is the first time.
No, this is the first time. First time.
Yeah, this is the second time. First time,
no,
sorry.
First time.
Yes, this is the first time he gets hit by a car.
No, yeah. Which makes the second time funnier.
The same day he
the same
gets
day
hit by
two
cars.
I forget this all takes place in one day.
Yeah. It's insane that it all takes place in one day. Yeah. But it does. Which, like, how late were they to the party? Jesus. It's like everyone...
I remember later when he's watching the security footage of the robbery with those two cops, it says 6:30 when that happened.
Okay.
So it makes me imagine they had to be going in there like what 11 or something.
Probably. Which like those poor like all of them just partying without alcohol. No, wait, they did bring alcohol. They did bring other people did.
They did?
But they were...
Okay. I thought there wasn't any alcohol.
Yeah, because by the time that they got there, a bunch of people were drunk, remember?
Oh, you're right. Okay, that's
so
fair.
I was like wondering the whole movie. I was like, man, it's going to be super late by the time they get there and everyone's going to be like, we've just been
Everyone
partying
would have
without
already
any
been,
alcohol.
everyone would have been gone because there's no alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. No, but you're right. They did.
They did, yeah.
But a note on those cops, I think like the fact like you were saying like they're like the dumbest cops ever. I feel like because they're dumb enough, you believe that they think like he's actually 25 named McLovin.
You're convinced that they're stupid enough to actually believe that this kid, who's very clearly a child, is 25 years old and his name is McLovin.
Right. He's an organ donor.
That he's an organ donor. Yeah. So just that all of that is just hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, going back to
go for it. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say going back to getting hit by the car. So they're like, all right, how do we use this in our advantage? That I just got hit by a car. He's like, all right, give us all your money and buy us some alcohol. Mm-hmm. Guy has $7 and is like, all right, solution. I'm heading to this crazy party. There's gonna be tons of alcohol, tons of girls. Come on, and it's like these idiots have no concept of stranger danger. So Seth doesn't, because he's very like one track mind. He's like, I need to get this alcohol and I need to sleep with her, and that is what needs to happen. But Michael Cera's character, what is his name?
Yeah,
what's his name? I can't think of it.
Michael Cera's?
Yeah,
Evan,
thank you. I was like looking for it in my notes and I couldn't find it, but he's like the only sensible one in this entire movie. He's like, maybe it's not a good idea to like just get in the car with some random guy and go to a random party. But he's like, no, we got to do it. So
I mean, he literally drags into all this mess when that was just like, we don't really need to do this. Like, but
he's like, we could just tell them the truth, but
I can just open up to her. Like, we'll just tell her how I feel. Like, no, we're not doing that.
That's stupid. Yeah.
I will say though, I think for me, obviously this is when more like chaos ensues and stuff, but I feel like after this point of the movie, I think it was still funny, but I feel like the beginning of the movie for me was the funniest. So for me in the middle, like this middle part of the movie, I think dragged a little for me, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make jokes after that hilarious encounter with the robber, but
they find a way. I mean, because obviously a lot of the humor now, the story kind of splits into two different stories.
Yeah.
Like it's those two, Seth and Evan, and then now it's Fogel with the cops.
Fogel. McLovin with the cops.
Yeah.
Rogelio with the cops. Right. So we get two different stories. Like their nights are going completely different because Fogel is having the best night of his life.
Yeah.
But the other two are just having the worst night. And it's just so funny that it's like, it almost feels like karma because Seth is like the one that's like that sent him in there to get that alcohol. He's the one that put him in that situation. And then for him to be the one that comes out having a great night and then Seth having just a terrible night and nothing going how he wants is really funny. It's like, I guess you get what you're with.
Honestly, I mean, that's all he was trying to do. Right. So, well, you put it out into the world.
You put that out into the world. That's what happens.
But they do end up going with that guy to that party. Mm-hmm. And then he's just...
Yeah, we end up seeing that this guy is not wanted at this party.
No.
At all, and it's just very chaotic. There's just a lot going on.
It's just chaos from the beginning. I mean, then he dances with that random girl. She gets period blood on him,
which then later comes out to that funny line. It was like, "Hey, man, we're blood brothers," because the other guy came up with like blood on his pants too, and he's like, "We're blood brothers." That was so stupid, but I couldn't stop laughing at that. But which ended up being that guy's boyfriend or that girl's boyfriend. So he was not happy about that fact. So that was an issue there. But then on the other hand, we have why can I not remember his name? Evan. I'm gonna write this down. Evan, who is.
Make sure you spell it right too.
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry. Evan, who is gets dragged out. Well, first he wants to go talk to Rebecca. No, Becca. Just Becca.
Just Becca, yeah.
Yeah, so he goes to talk to Becca, and he has bad connection, which, like, I get that it's frustrating when your phone is, like, dropping the call, but, like, who yells at their phone that much?
That much.
Because all she hears is, like, him just, like, saying how stupid
Cussing
she
his
is.
phone out. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, that's rude, Evan. So, you know, he attempts to call her back using the house phone in the room, which then gets occupied by a bunch of other people from the party, getting ready to bring out cocaine.
Which I recognize some of those actors in there.
Yeah. One of them was in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes.
Also the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And then there was that other guy, but I can't
He was
him.
he was in Freaks and Geeks, and
Is that what it was?
yeah, and he was. I mean, most recently he was like one of the teachers in Spider-Man.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't recognize him from that, but okay.
Oh,
Good to know.
Well, I just
Thank
recognize
you.
him there because he's older than that, and he has the beard and everything.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
I feel like
I don't remember.
You
his
don't know
face.
who I'm talking about. It's fine.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I'm like, yeah, totally, sure, for sure.
First of all, I just was gonna say I don't know why he didn't just tell the guy that he didn't know it was his fiance. He's just kind of just standing there going and getting himself in a fight, and then you just have Evan in the other room just singing.
Well, well, okay. So here's the thing. So some guy is like threatening to kill you. It's gonna be kind of hard to like get your words straight and try to explain to him. And even so, by saying like, I didn't know that she was your girlfriend, you know,
Yeah.
he was also admitting to the fact that he was just with his girlfriend and just dancing with her.
Okay.
So,
I guess.
you know, I feel like maybe that's an excuse for like why he couldn't like manage to say anything.
Yeah.
So he was too
That's
busy
fair.
freaking out. So kind of the deal there.
No, that's honestly very fair. Yeah. I was gonna say too, I forgot about the part where they were in the bar and they were going after some drunk guy.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so the cops, this is back to Fogel's story. So he's on a joyride with the cops now. They were like, oh yeah, sure, we'll take you to the party. Don't worry. And they end up taking him on one of their calls. So they have to go take care of this drunk guy at a bar. And so they end up giving him like a lot of advice, like life advice.
Yeah.
And they treating him like a little buddy because he ends up getting in the way of the drunk guy who's like trying to escape, and they're like, get him, McLovin. And he ends up like getting like crashing into him, and that's how he gets stopped, and they're like, way to go. And they decided that this new kid is like going to be their best friend for the night.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so you know, they take him under his wing, and
Yeah.
you see him in the bar hanging out.
I just thought it was funny because literally every part after that you see that drunk guy in the back seat, and I just forgot he was there.
I know. There was even that one scene where, like, towards the end, where he is, like, trying to chase after the guys, and then he, like, kicks off the glass of the windshield.
Yeah.
And then the drunk guy, like, wakes up, and he's like, oh, my God! He's like, I forgot you were there. So it's just, I think, he was hilarious. Just an element in the background, and then by the end, when they unarrest him, he's like, hey, I have rights. You cannot unarrest me. He's like yelling at him in the street.
It reminded me of the crab from Shark Tale. That was the vibe it gave me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just like the crazy old man in the background.
Right.
Yeah.
But somehow, some way, they found their way out of that scenario or that house, and then they start arguing about, oh, like, you know, you're going to college without me, and then they're arguing, you've been dragging me down these last couple of years. Like, I mean,
everything that they've been bottling up is
Yeah.
out and there. You know, not.
I mean,
not-
just being
not-
like real codependent on each other.
They're two friends on two different paths, and they don't know how to handle it.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Which, to be honest, I don't know how you feel about it. I was more on Evan's side with this.
yeah, for sure. No,
Okay.
Seth is a very selfish person, and they make that very clear from the very beginning of this
Yeah.
movie. And I fully believe like Seth has done nothing wrong here. You know, he knows that he doesn't want to tell. No, sorry, Evan is doesn't want to tell Seth that he's actually going to be moving in with Fogel in college, because he knows that he's not going to react well to it, and he's like trying to save his friendship as much as he can because he doesn't want to have this big fight before he ends up leaving, and then that causing this big issue with their friendship.
Right.
So, but I'm definitely on Evan's side. I think he's
I mean, especially too because like he's like saying like, oh, you're doing all this for Becca, when it's like literally the whole reason why they're in this situation because he's trying to do all this stuff for Jules, and even though he does like her, like he's just talking about how he wants to sleep with her and not really be with her, like past the summer.
Yeah, he wants to he wants to just use her for his own benefit.
Yeah.
So just, everything that he does is just, he's a very selfish person.
So,
he's
like,
only thinking about himself.
Yeah. So you understand why like Evan's just kind of like, you know what, like I'm tired of this. Like it's been, this has been
he's
like this for
over
so
it at
long,
that
and
point.
just like all that stuff. So I get it. But right after that, he gets hit the second time, like you were saying earlier. And this time it's by the dumb police officers.
Yeah, who were shining flashlights in each other's eyes while they were driving. And what you think was going to happen?
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
He gets hit by the car, and they're like, all right, so... Which they also mentioned, they're like, again? It's so weird that this happened again. So, like, obviously this has happened before.
Not the first time. Which is surprising.
Yeah, not surprising at all.
And then, of course, because they're dumb and they're just going to try to turn it into wanting to arrest them, even though they're the ones that hit them.
Yeah, even though he ran over him, they were like, all right, get on the ground. And they're like, hold hands. So they're just,
just ridiculous. But somehow, then Fogel comes out of the car, and they're like, oh my God, you've been with like these cops like the whole time?
Yeah, and he's like coming out of there with like smoking a cigarette, and flicks it, and just looking like a total badass. But then it's like, what the hell are you doing with these guys?
Yeah.
Well, eventually Evan is like, all right, I'll take one for the team. Books it, starts running like crazy. Thank God for gym class, because he ran fast.
He was very fast. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was too hard to outrun the cops in this movie.
Definitely not. But he made his best effort, and he got away. And so, while he's distracting the cops, Fogel and Seth decide to make a break for it in the other direction.
Yeah.
So that's how they manage to escape the idiot cops.
The idiot cops.
And they're hurt by the fact that Lovin just ditched them.
I mean, their best friend like left them there, basically.
That was their buddy, and he just said, "Nope, I'm leaving."
But I think it just really, like, it just really shows, like we were saying, just like how those two in particular, like, are just so codependent on each other that they just cannot. Yeah. Especially Seth has an issue with this, but they literally cannot do like any single thing without each other.
Yeah, they always need.
Yeah, and then it's just
we'll get to that later. But
I feel like that just shows that, like, I mean, the whole movie is just they want to experience these things because they never did, but I feel like they show that it's because of how codependent they are on each other that they haven't experienced those things, and they don't know there's a way you can balance those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good way of like summing up the like issues with this movie within their friendship.
Yeah.
So good job, buddy.
Thanks. I tried. That took me like 15 minutes.
You were really just sitting there like, all right, what is the meaning of this?
Exactly. No, but now they're at the party, and you're just kind of gonna see what's happening to these girls. Like, all three of them have some kind of girl or thing they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, which like Fogel and Seth have like this just like huge boost in confidence now after like everything they've been through, and then we have Evan, who's really just sticking to his morals till the end. Like he shows up and
really
she's
trying.
Yeah, he's like that. Her friend came up. Becca's friend was like, she wants to sleep with you, and he was like, but I'm not drunk. Wouldn't that be immoral? Like if I slept with her and she's not drunk. So
he's like, not if you're both drunk.
Yeah, so he's like trying to get as drunk as he can, as fast as he can. He does not like the alcohol, which do not blame him.
I'm the same way. I can't.
No, alcohol's disgusting. But he's trying his best.
But I will say, because it's clear at that point, I mean, we already knew like the girl he likes him back, but we don't really know the same thing with Emma Stone. Like with Seth.
Everything's still up in the air. It's kind of like I still can't tell if she's using him to just get the alcohol,
right? But
then also it's like, but like the timeline doesn't quite make sense because she invited him before she knew that he was getting a ID.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
So like,
So, like, I
she
don't
already
know.
mentioned the party before they mentioned that. So
Yeah.
I guess what I mean is like, is she just kind of like really wanting him to be there more because of the alcohol? Like, is that it, or it's just like, does she like him more than that? And we don't know.
And we don't know. And we still
and
don't
then-
know because he shows up and he's like, all right, I got to get drunk immediately.
because he has the alcohol, so he was able to put alcohol in detergent, like
Yeah,
bottles.
steal some of the beer
Yeah.
detergent bottle.
And then
Yeah.
most of the alcohol McLovin had is still there except the vodka, because on the bus on the way there,
Oh, the
that
gold
drunk
fleck
dude
vodka.
that was in the police car like tried to fight him and
Bump into each other again.
spilled
Yeah.
the vodka. Yeah.
Small world.
Just stupid stuff. But
Yeah.
but then you see Evan, like obviously like you're saying, he was trying to get as drunk as fast as he can, and then he meets up with Becca and he's still just so awkward. Like they're trying to hook up and he's just like the things that he's saying to her, like trying to kind of navigate
Yeah.
the situation, or just like he's like, oh, samesies.
Same Z's, yeah. Just
It's just
everything
like,
about it
oh,
was very awkward, and
yeah.
she's very adamant. She's like, I need to sleep with you
Mm-hmm.
right now. And he is like, well, like, this isn't quite what I imagined. So
Yeah.
maybe we could just like take a pause.
So, like, yeah, like slow it down.
And yeah, and she's just not listening. And eventually she does stop, only to throw up because
Puke on
she's so drunk. And she throws up all over Jules' bed,
yeah.
which is information that will come in handy for the end of the movie.
The very, very end for sure. But
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
very end of the
but
movie.
just some of the things he was saying, like right before that happened, though, was just funny. Like just things she was saying. He's like, "Oh, they said that would happen in health."
Yeah. They said I think
like,
I wrote
oh.
that down because I thought that was really funny.
He's like, "Oh, you would too if you were a man."
Yeah, he's really just like trying, like he has no idea what he's doing, and he's like very nervous, very awkward, and she is just keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
And she does not care what he's thinking, so that's really funny.
But then at the same time, what's his face? Seth is outside with Jules, just randomly tries to kiss her. And she's like, no, like, you're drunk. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
And he's already in that moment sad and drunk. So it's just kind of like, it's just not going to be well.
He's he's assuming like, okay, so maybe I was right before, like she didn't actually like me.
Yeah.
She just wanted the alcohol, and
Right.
he's like, I went through all of this for you, and and you don't even want to kiss me, and like I've ruined it because I'm so drunk now. And well, he goes off to cry on his own, and she like goes after him and is like, are you crying? And she's like trying to explain to him, it's like, well, you're drunk, like I haven't been drinking at all, like I'm not, like
So,
this
well, you asked me
isn't-
to get all this alcohol. We are like, yeah, because I'm having a party. Like, people drink at parties.
yeah, it's like, she's
just-
like, it's
I
not
just
what
don't drink.
I wanted. Yeah. Well, eventually that alcohol catches up to him.
Yeah, because the second she actually gives him some hope, he
Yeah.
just passes out and fucking falls
And
on-
knocks her in
knocks
the
her out.
head with his head. So he just like, boom. And then gives her a black eye. And she's it's just everything about that movie was so hilarious. Because again, it was like another thing that was like very unexpected to happen.
Yeah.
It was a lot of
Just-
that happened.
It's just a lot of unexpected things, but they're things
Yeah.
that, like, even though they're unexpected, they don't feel like too crazy to where you're not believing it would
Yeah.
happen. I guess.
It's definitely. I think, but it's perfect. So he just clearly ruined his shot. Both of
Yeah.
the guys have clearly ruined his shot. But let's turn
Yeah.
to Fogel for a bit.
Oh, Fogel, his shot went well.
He is just thriving. He
Yeah.
gained so much confidence after being with those cops. Oddly enough, and he is managed to charm the girl that he saw in the hallway earlier. She doesn't know that it was him because he is a completely different person now.
Yeah, right.
So he's like, yeah, my name's McLovin. He is now taken on McLovin as a
He's
whole
taking on
persona.
that new identity. Like, that's his
Yeah.
thing now.
That is him now. So he is, he's having a great night. He is having the best night of his life, I think.
Yeah.
Manages
and-
to get the girl in bed.
He does for 1 second until his friend
Until-
cops show up and crash the party.
Yeah.
Then they find him. And they're just like, oh no, we're supposed to be
They're like,
guiding him, not blocking.
McLovin, why'd you leave us?
And you can just see how hurt they are. They're like, they really didn't want him to go.
Yeah, they really, didn't want him to go. But then we end up finding out the truth with the cops that they knew the whole time that he was not 25.
Yeah.
And they, tell him like, oh, we just wanted to like mess with you, but like also we wanted to guide you too. So
yeah, the part of the explanation that I didn't really know how valid it was they were talking about they like saw their younger selves in him too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would justify like not revealing that they knew he was lying, but also they are really dumb cops. So
yeah,
I guess it works.
I'm like not 100% sure at what point did they realize that he was not
like
25?
Did they know as soon as they saw his ID or like
because something tells me that it wasn't the first time they looked at his ID. Like it took them a bit before they realized that he was not 25. So that's what I'm getting from it.
Are you assuming that because that was the only smart thing they did during the movie?
Yeah,
he wasn't 25.
That would be, yeah. That would be giving them too much credit to believe that immediately they figured it out.
That's fair.
So, and they have not done anything to show that they are capable enough to understand that.
Clearly not
from the get-go.
No. And they clearly also show no regard for keeping their jobs or doing their jobs well.
Oh yeah, they don't care. Every driving scene, every time that there's a red light, they turn the sirens on just so that they get past the red light and almost get everyone else in like a car accident. So it's very clear they're not good at their jobs.
No.
Well, I mean, unless. Never mind. Okay. I'm not going to get into that.
Right.
But anyway.
But basically, it ends up well with those three. Like, they're still friends. They go out to some parking lot and do donuts. And
they have figured out a solution to the broken windshield after running over Seth. Because they were like, well, we can't, come in with another incident report where we ran over someone. So here's the deal. Some random drunk, homeless guy took our car, did God knows what with it. And that's the story we're sticking with. Mm-hmm. So in order to make it believable, they decide to just completely wreck the car, doing donuts, crashing it, and then finally
light it on fire.
Light it on fire. Set it, bow wow.
It's kind of a beautiful end to their friendship. I mean, not their friendship, but their story.
Their story. It's a nice conclusion for them all. It's they're best buds for life, and I could totally see Vogel becoming another idiot cop with them because
Definitely.
Here's the thing with Vogel. Book smarts, he has.
Yeah.
Smarts in any other regard, he does not have.
I mean, because him and Evan got into Dartmouth.
Yeah, so clearly he's like smart when it comes to,
Academics.
Actual like education and like academics. But like when it comes to like street smarts or, like any logic whatsoever, no, don't he. So you. Which to be fair, me too, man. I'm a good student, but, don't ask me to, like, cook, because I can't do that. I can't sustain a life on my own.
You can't park a car.
I can barely park a car. Exactly. I can barely drive. So, you can barely drive, sir. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I can see you and Brianna in a Superbad kind of situation, though.
When we watched Booksmart, wait, did I watch it with... No, I watched it with my parents, which my mom was like, oh my God, that's you and Brianna.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it is.
Really?
It's like, we all know it. So, this is definitely...
I mean, who would have been
I could
your
definitely
Fogel?
see myself in the same situation.
Right. Who would have been your Fogel then?
I suppose you.
Guess I'll take that. But basically, movie's almost over at this point. The last friendship, I guess, that needs to be resolved is between Seth and Evan. So, right when they were there for each other, though, he carried him out all drunk of the party.
Yeah, he finally is a good friend for once. Saves his life from the cops.
And then they got home. And I thought it was just funny how after, like, they had, like, the most, I would say, and I would just say, I just thought it was funny how they basically had, like, the most adult night of their life.
Yeah.
They just go back to sleeping over together, like in sleeping bags like kids again.
Yeah, I think that is funny. Something I didn't really know, but yeah, it's after everything. Like they had a run-in with the cops. They were stuck in a room singing for their lives while people were doing cocaine. They almost got in like a lot of fights. Just everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong, and they just had to deal with a lot that night. All brought on by themselves.
Yeah, this is entirely all their fault.
Their fault, yeah, but. By the end of it, they just resort back to like, all right, time for a sleepover.
Yeah,
but you know they're still. No, go ahead. I was gonna say, but by this time they're still very drunk, and they decide to you know just really bro it out and have that moment together where they're like, hey, I love you, man.
I thought that was sweet because they're like so drunk and opening up, and he's like, I love you, like boop.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, the whole scene was really funny, but it was nice to see this like a, you know, after everything they're still best friends and they're not gonna let some distance and different colleges change that. But of course the day after is very awkward.
Yeah, I will say though, so the scene that I saw, they were like shopping for clothes together, and I had never seen that scene before, so I didn't realize I was watching the extended cut of the movie.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't in the original. So I honestly thought about like some of the issues I had with like dragging, like the movie dragging at points. I think that's honestly because I watched a longer version of the movie too. So I will say that.
I saw that version too. Like I saw the extended version, but I don't have anything else to compare
didn't know
to.
Because it was your first time. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it all just felt like it fit. I mean, it was very awkward of a transition from like every like complete insanity the night before to like, let's go shopping for pants.
Yeah. Right.
You know? So
yeah, because in the original movie, it literally just the next scene you see is them coming up like them both coming to the mall. Like I feel like it flows a little better rather than just cutting to them shopping for pants. I feel like they just had that in there to show why they're there. To begin with. But but you get why he's looking for pants because of the whole period blood thing.
Yeah.
So I get it. But it is an awkward ending, but I think it's awkward like in the same funny way that it's been the whole movie. And it was kind of, I mean, it's kind of sweet, but it was also a little sad because like, I mean, they finally learned to not be as codependent. As you can see, like they're literally parting ways at the beginning.
Yeah, at the very end of the movie, that final scene. They go their separate ways, and like he kind of just like looks back at him on the escalator, and again, so dramatic for no reason at all. You know, it does not need to be this dramatic.
Like it's not a final goodbye at all, but they're making it seem like it's like their final goodbye ever.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, like I'll call you later or something.
Yeah, he's like, I'll call you.
So it's like,
yeah, I'll see you.
Yeah, so it's again, it's not a final goodbye, but to them, I guess this is like a step in the direction of like being able to go their separate ways and be okay with it. Like
and finally not be so codependent with each other. Like
yes, they're learning to live without each other and live on their own. So you know, I guess it's a nice wrap up to the movie for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was. And the fact that the girls forgive them, I was kind of surprised by. But
well,
not necessarily Becca. That wasn't her fault. I mean, that wasn't his fault. But the whole like giving her a black eye thing.
That thing, that kind of didn't work. But with definitely that, you can see that it was clear that she did actually have feelings for him. That it wasn't just.
Yeah, that's true. The fact that she was willing to give him another chance.
Yeah, and like she purposely like was like, well, you gave me the black eye, so you should come shopping with me.
Yeah.
So you know, it was very clear that she wanted to spend time alone with him. So.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, yeah, I just thought that was a really sweet way to end it, and I just thought. I mean, kind of getting to kind of my final thoughts. I just thought I thought what made this funnier was just because like you care about their friendship and the fact that their friendship is kind of the glue for all this.
Yeah. It's the catalyst for the complete insanity of this movie. It's just like they're just so getting themselves in such ridiculous situations because they. They're two dumb kids.
Yeah, really.
And they're
in the
like
case of Fogel third with the cops.
The three dumb kids, trying to figure out like what's the next step because this is their next step, like leaving high school, going to college. And,
for sure.
Yeah.
So there were so many lines throughout this movie that we didn't even mention. There's just like funny lines in every scene of this movie.
Oh
so
yeah, for sure.
I think the comedy here is just on point. But I think what keeps this more memorable is just how funny like those two are, like these two are, in particular. I think everyone's just so funny in this, and like the fact that it's still kind of sweet. On top of that too, I feel like it makes it stand out more than like any.
It's still a nice movie about friendship at the end of the day, which is always nice to see.
Which and I like too. Just you mentioned all the crazy situations they're in. None of them are like too like crazy over the top either, to where it kind of takes you out. So I like that too. It felt authentic. Still, I would say not 100% realistic, but not.
I definitely I don't necessarily, when I said earlier like I could see us getting into like a situation like that, I think I mean like on a lot smaller scale. Right. I don't think I would ever end up in those exact situations.
I would hope not.
Yeah. So but like the way that their characters interact with each other, the way that they just act separately, everything about it is very realistic. Yeah,
for sure. So did you have any more final thoughts, or did you want to get into your rating?
I guess just final note is, I enjoyed watching this movie. I got some good laughs out of it, which is always a win in my book.
I was really hoping you would. I was wondering if you would think like if the humor would work for you, because I know it was your first time, and especially like in the beginning, like without just like they just don't care from the beginning. Yeah,
it's very harsh, like jumping into it. But I think I went into it knowing that it was going to be very like vulgar with the jokes and the language, and I just was like, all right, I understand that, now let's get into it. And I think with that mindset, it made it easier to like enjoy and actually laugh at the jokes and the stupidity of the whole movie. But I think overall I really enjoyed it. Definitely not the best movie ever made, but definitely iconic for many reasons. So
okay, well, I'm glad you liked it. Did you want to give your score?
Yeah, I'm going to give this a low 7.
Oh, why a low one?
I don't know, because I was teetering on the edge between a 6 or a 7. Like, it's funny, and I got a good enjoyment out of it, but it's by no means a perfect movie.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so.
I mean, I'll give it an 8. I just think this is one of those rewatchable comedies for sure. Like, I can always just put this on and have a good time with it. And I honestly feel like there hasn't, this was like 2007, 14 years ago, and I feel like in the last 14 years we haven't gotten too many comedies I think that are this rewatchable, because even some of the details, like this is like my third or fourth time watching this, and I didn't even, like, for example, the ID, I didn't even realize his head was to the left of the picture. Yeah,
you got a good point there.
I feel like there's a lot here that you can get out of this, so yeah, I'll go 8 on that.
Middle 7.
Okay, it's still 7, so whatever.
Yeah, it's still a 7. It's a 7 regardless. Yeah.
Seems fair. So that's our discussion on Superbad. Glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are gonna go after you for being too low, but whatever.
Hey, I still think it's a great movie. I am by no means knocking it and saying like, oh, I did not enjoy this movie. I think it was stupid. The jokes were
that's what I thought you said.
I got great laughs out of it. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Is it my favorite movie now? No, not. Definitely not. But I still enjoyed it, and I could definitely see myself watching it again in the future. So
okay, well,
my final thoughts.
You're still a hater, but that's fine. Anywho, but we're done talking about that movie. But next week we're actually not gonna do a movie. Next week we're actually gonna go back to I don't think we've done this since our very first episode. We made a list.
The first episode. Yeah. Actually, technically, no, because we have done another one where we did a list of.
We talked about our worst movies, but we didn't
movies.
Rank them or anything like that.
So this will, Oh, are we? Okay. Well, next week we're going to be having a special guest who we are going to redeem. Miss Brianna. She was here before on the Percy Jackson episode, but unfortunately the video got cut, so you only got the audio. So we are going to redeem her, have her on as a guest. So hopefully the video works this time.
I hope so too.
It's definitely going to be a little bit different of a format, but it's still gonna be.
We're gonna play around with it and see how it goes.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But the whole theme of that episode is going to be music. So we are going to make a list of some of our favorite movie soundtracks and scores and such. So it should be fun. I've already been working on my list a bit, so I'm excited.
I've not got started that at all, but I'm excited to kind of. I have a playlist on my Spotify of like all of my favorite like songs from movies. So I'm definitely gonna go through that and kind of probably rank off of that.
All right. Cool.
But now I'm very looking forward to talking about that because for me, I mean, one of the big parts of movies that I love is just the music that can really make
it completely changes.
Can change the whole mood of a movie. Yeah, for sure. So, scores and soundtracks both. So, we're gonna be making a top 10 list of those. So, I don't know how it is for you so far, but it's not necessarily like a movie or like a score or soundtrack will necessarily be like. Not just because it's on my list doesn't mean like that's also one of my like favorite movies either. Like there's some movies I don't love as much, but the music and it's still really good. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see.
Yes,
how that's
actually, one specifically comes to mind. So yes, I 100% understand. Yes.
Okay, well we'll talk about that and Brianna too. So it'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, that's our next episode. Thank you all for watching, for listening. Wherever you may be watching or listening, well, there's only one place to watch us. That's on YouTube. And if you aren't watching us on YouTube, you should subscribe to us, Inner Widescreen Podcast. Or if you want to listen to us, we're on Spotify, Apple, wherever else you can listen to podcasts. We should be on there. So if y'all going back to school, if you need a break from class, or you're doing homework, or you're walking across your big campus, or you don't want to listen to your professor, just listen to us.
Put us in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll definitely give you more.
We'll probably put you to sleep, but
We'll probably put you to sleep, but maybe not as fast as your professor will. So there's that.
Yeah.
And finally, follow us on our social medias. Like we said earlier, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Not always the most active, but they're there. The accounts are active.
They're there. The accounts are active.
The accounts are still up. So
that's what matters.
Yeah,
but hey, look, we don't even keep our own social medias active.
No.
So I don't even have an Instagram.
No, me neither.
So it's asking a lot to just get a couple posts.
It's asking a lot for the least social media savvy people in the world to manage that, but we're trying. So it's patience. Patience is key.
Patience, absolutely.
So that wraps up our episode. Anything else you wanted to say?
No, I think that's about it. Thank you guys for listening and watching. We really appreciate you all. You guys are awesome. Don't forget that. And watch this movie and
any movie you
give
want.
it a good score. Unlike me, I suppose. Yeah. But that's all.
Okay.
Bye.